discover the incredible truth. As I struggled to breathe, my dad revealed an unexpected lifeline. The stage loomed in front of me, bright lights shining like distant stars, an echo of my dreams shimmering under the weight of reality. My fingers trembled over my guitar strings, and with every breath I took, a tightness gripped my chest. Asthma, that uninvited thief, was creeping in, feasting on my hope. It felt as if the walls of the auditorium were closing in, each shallow breath like sand slipping through my fingers. My dad, Mike, sat in the audience with his lined face, a collage of worry and pride, as I faced the most crucial moment in my life. This small Midwestern town was all I had ever known. A place where dreams often felt too big for the worn-down streets, where every corner echoed the toll of economic hardship. Yet, I had one dream: to be a musician, to pour my heart into my songs and have the world listen. But hidden beneath that dream was a struggle, a father who sacrificed everything, silently carrying the burdens of his own past. The pride etched into his face spoke of battles fought and battles lost. This was my father, a retired veteran who had seen the worst and now fought each day to keep us afloat. Just a week before the competition, as I practiced, the familiar wheeze gripped my lungs, and my heart raced. I fell to my knees, wheezing, gasping for air, as the world spun around me. Frustration bubbled inside. A mix of hope and despair. Was this how my dreams would die? I could feel the pressure mounting as I realized that this competition was more than just a performance. It held my future. I would not only let myself down but my dad, too. I could see him on the edge, bracing for a moment no father should ever have to witness. Before despair could settle like a winter frost, Mike broke the silence. For the first time, I saw vulnerability in his eyes. "Jamie," he started, his voice deep and gravelly, a sound I knew well, yet today it trembled. "I've been saving quietly." My heart raced in confusion as he reached into his worn jacket pocket, pulling out a small slip of paper. "This is my military retirement fund. I wanted you to have it, to follow your dreams." Shock raced through my veins. All these years, he silently gave everything for my success without asking for anything back. I felt tears spring to my eyes, emotions weaving into a tapestry of realization. Suddenly, my dreams felt heavy with the cost of his sacrifices. In that moment, we were no longer just a father and daughter, but two souls grappling with the weight of love and unspoken expectations. As the echoes of his words filled the room, I thought about my dreams. Were they worth the sacrifices my dad was willing to make? Could I rise from the ashes of fear and take that stage, knowing I carried not only my hopes but his unspoken love? Panic surged again, an overwhelming sensation that had become my companion. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. With just days left, my path became clearer, armed with the knowledge of my father's sacrifice. The weight of my ambition shifted as I prepped for what felt like an insurmountable task. Each inhale carried hope, each exhale released doubt. Yet, on the night of the competition, backstage, the familiar grip of panic returned when my lungs began to tighten again. I was trapped in a whirlwind of fear. I took a deep breath, fighting against the tightening walls. Would I rise to the occasion and honor my dad's sacrifices, or would I drown in my fears? As I teetered on the precipice of my dreams, all I could think was if I could find that strength, that heartbeat of hope pushing me to the stage. Was it enough? The moment was electric. The muffled sounds of the audience seeped backstage, blending with my racing heartbeats. I could hear the announcer's voice echo through the walls, introducing the performers one by one. Each name met with rising cheers. A part of me reveled in the thrill of anticipation, but another part was paralyzed with fear. Each name felt like a countdown, and soon, it would be my turn. I closed my eyes, seeking refuge from the chaos around me. Visualizing the faces of everyone who had supported me filled me with warmth. My friends, my dad, and even the small crowd of townfolks who believed in me. Yet amidst the warmth, shadows loomed. The familiar tightening in my chest deepened. The panic clawed its way back, threatening to consume me. I could feel it, a storm brewing inside, ready to unleash. "Jamie!" A voice broke through my haze. It was Amanda, my best friend, rushing towards me with a wide smile and a spark in her eyes. "You've got this. I know you do. Remember what we talked about?" I needed her encouragement. "What if I can't do it?" I whispered, the vulnerability raw and exposed. "Think about your dad, about everything he sacrificed," she urged, squeezing my hand tight. "You're not alone out there. You have him and all of us. Just sing from your heart." Her words hung in the air, pulling me back from the edge. They were like a lighthouse, calling me home through the fog. I took a breath, steadier this time, as the grip of fear began to loosen around my lungs. The announcer's voice rang out again. "Next up, we have Jamie Thompson." My heart raced, each beat echoing 1,000 emotions. I stepped forward, my legs feeling like lead as I crossed the threshold from the noise of backstage into the bright glare of the spotlight. The stage felt gigantic, the crowd blurred into a sea of faces. In that singular moment, everything faded except for the guitar in my hands and the sound of deep breaths echoing in my ears. Silence surrounded me, holding tension like a tightly coiled spring, just waiting for me to release it. With my first strum, a jolt of energy surged through me. My fingers began to dance across the strings, the notes flowing like water, washing over the nerves and shaking off the fear. As I opened my mouth and let the first words spill out, I felt my dad's presence, his quiet support lifting me. With each note, I poured in the love, the fear, the hopes, and the dreams. The song became a story, a bridge between my heart and the hearts of the audience. I saw faces light up in the crowd, lost in the music, the connection pulling us closer together. As I slipped into the rhythm, my breath steadied, blending into the melody. I could feel laughter, tears, and cheers merging into a powerful wave that set my spirit free. I could hear my dad's voice swelling within me, urging me to keep pushing, to keep singing. But just as I reached the crescendo, my lungs tightened painfully, memories of my struggles bubbling to the surface. I faltered, stumbling over the lyrics, desperately gasping for air. The stage blurred before me, a reminder of my limitations. Could I overcome this in front of everyone? Then, I gripped my guitar tighter, grounding myself in that moment. The melody continued, carrying me forward, but I couldn't shake off the fear. As I made it to the end, the applause surged like a tidal wave, but inside me, an unresolved storm still roiled. Would this be the moment that defined me, or would it be the struggle that defined my spirit? And as the lights dimmed and I stepped away from the edge of the stage, the question surged in my mind: was this just the beginning of my fight? As the applause faded, I stumbled off the stage, the weight of the spotlight lifting but leaving behind a whirlwind of emotions. My hands trembled as I clutched my guitar, the strap digging into my shoulder, a reminder of the battle I had just fought. The cheers echoed in my ears like a war cry, but inside, I felt fragile, raw. My heart pounded, an intricate dance of triumph and trepidation. Amanda rushed to my side, her eyes shining with pride. "Jamie, you were amazing. I told you, you owned that stage." For a moment, her enthusiasm swept me up, and I managed a shaky smile. "Thanks, Amanda," I said, taking a deep breath. However, the cloud of uncertainty still hung over me. But before I could spiral back into doubt, I spotted my dad near the edge of the backstage area, his face alight with joy. Just seeing him there made the world outside feel less daunting, like every note I played had reached him. I hurried toward him, desperate for his reassurance. "Dad," I said, barely able to catch my breath. I didn't know if I could do it. He pulled me into a warm embrace, wrapping his arms around me as if the world had vanished. I inhaled his familiar scent, comforted by the strength he radiated. "You did it, Jamie. You faced your fear and sang your heart out. I'm so proud, kiddo." Tears pricked my eyes. The storm within me calmed, just a bit, but it was still there, lurking. What if I'm not good enough? What if I can't keep this up? He stepped back, holding my shoulders with a firm grip. "Listen closely. You are more than enough. You've got talent and heart, never lose sight of that." As I shook my head, wanting to argue, Amanda spoke up again. "You know, everyone faces hard moments. The trick is to use them as fuel instead of letting them hold you back." Her eyes glimmered, reflecting a wisdom beyond her years. "Fuel," I echoed, mulling over her words. Maybe that was it. I could turn my fear into something powerful. Just then, a voice called out from across the room. It was Mrs. Cole, the event organizer, waving me over with an excitement that put a flutter in my stomach. "Jamie, come here. You're needed for the next segment. We want you to join another act." I hesitated, glancing at my dad and then at Amanda. "Do I have to?" My heart raced with the prospect of stepping into the spotlight again, not quite ready to dive into that ocean of vulnerability. "Yes." Mrs. Cole's enthusiasm was contagious. "You'll love it. Just think, more music, more connection. You can do it." The choice loomed before me. Embrace the opportunity or retreat into the comfort of my fears. A few moments passed, and I could feel everyone's gaze upon me, waiting for my decision. Taking a deep breath, I felt a shift inside. It was that flicker of hope against mundane doubt. "Okay, let us do it," I said, my voice stronger than I felt. As I followed Mrs. Cole, I realized something significant had changed. This wasn't just about the applause or validation. I was on my way to discovering what it truly meant to sing, to connect, and to be brave in the face of fear. But as the stage lights glowed dimly ahead, another question whispered through my mind. Would I be able to keep pushing myself, or would I find more walls to break down alongside my wounds? And with that flickering hope, I stepped back toward the spotlight, where another challenge awaited. The moment I stepped onto the stage again, the lights burst into brilliance, blinding but exhilarating. The air crackled with anticipation, and I could hear the faint buzz of conversations dying down, replaced by the heartbeat of the crowd. The energy surged through me like an electric current, pulling me closer to the mic. A deep breath steadied my trembling hands. I felt like a tightrope walker above a roaring crowd, teetering on the edge of excitement and fear. This wasn't just another performance. This was a chance to push past the barriers I had built around myself. "Hey, everyone," I managed to call out, my voice sounding louder than I expected. Cheers erupted in response, a cascading wave of support that wrapped around me. They believed in me even when I struggled to believe in myself. I glanced at Amanda, who stood off to the side, her thumb up, her smile beaming with encouragement. And then my gaze shifted to my dad, his proud demeanor radiating reassurance. As I settled into the rhythm of the moment, a rush of clarity washed over me. The song I chose was one I had written myself, not just notes and chords, but a piece of my heart. It embodied everything I felt and feared, and now it would soar into the air, untethered. I took another deep breath and struck the first chord. The familiar sound reverberated through me, each strum solidifying my presence in that space. My voice cracked initially, but courage fueled every word. And as I poured out my soul, a curious thing happened. Vulnerability morphed into strength. The walls I had feared began to crumble, brick by brick, replaced by an exhilarating freedom. Halfway through the song, I caught sight of Mrs. Cole. Her eyes were alight with enthusiasm as she swayed to the rhythm, completely lost in the music. That flame of passion ignited something deep within me. This was why I was here, not just for the applause, but to create moments that connected us all. As I reached the final chorus, a surge of raw emotion threatened to overwhelm me. I sang with everything I had, reaching out to each person in the audience as if they were my lifeline, and I felt them reach back. Their voices blended with mine, creating a haunting echo that filled the room with warmth. When the last note hung in the air, silence followed for a heartbeat, then the eruption of applause crashed down like a wave, washing over me. I stood there, breathless, eyes glistening with tears. In that moment, it was clear. I wasn't just performing. I was sharing a sacred piece of myself. I turned toward the side of the stage, and Amanda rushed over, embracing me tightly. You did it. You found your voice. Her excitement was contagious. But just as my dad reached me, a voice broke through the noise, cutting the air with an unexpected weight. Jamie! Wait, it was an unfamiliar figure, a man stepping toward me from backstage. His eyes were intense, his demeanor urgent. Suddenly, the joyful haze of the moment shifted, leaving me suspended in uncertainty. Who was he and what did he want? Why now, when I had just tasted the sweet triumph of overcoming my fears? My heart raced again, this time with a different kind of thrill. Yet, amidst the applause, a thread of dread began to weave through my thoughts. What revelation awaited me, and would it change everything I had just fought for? The crowd was still roaring, but all I could hear was that man's voice calling my name, slicing through the noise like a knife. My heart pounded in tandem with the fading applause. Amanda stepped back, her smile faltering as she watched the newcomer approach, uncertainty pooling in her eyes. My dad, still beaming, halted mid-step, his brows furrowing in confusion. Who are you? I finally managed to ask, my voice steadier than I felt. The man took another step closer. He looked somewhat worn, as if this moment meant more to him than just the usual fanfare of a performance. My name is Jack, he said, his voice firm yet tremulous. I need to talk to you, now. It's important. There was urgency in his tone that made my breath catch. Every instinct screamed at me to retreat, to go back to the safety of the stage and the warmth of the audience's love. But curiosity flickered within me, daring me to lean in. What do you want? I asked again, louder this time. The way my heart raced said I was scared, but my voice held a hint of defiance. I'm here to tell you about your mother, he stated. And, just like that, the world around me tilted. The applause faded into the background, and my thoughts began racing. My mom. I hadn't thought of her in ages. Not since the day of her departure, a day that left an unquenchable ache in my heart. Jamie, my dad called, stepping forward, his hand outstretched. No, Dad. Let him speak, I said, cutting him off. My emotions were swirling, and I was suddenly a child again, searching for an answer that had never come. The little fragments of memory, hazy and painful, flared to life in my mind. Jack's expression grew solemn as he continued. Your mother, she didn't leave because she wanted to. There's more to it than what you've known. What do you mean? I pressed, my chest tightening. Amanda stood frozen nearby, her eyes darting between us, tension thick in the air. She had to protect you. There were things happening that his voice faltered, and I saw guilt flash across his face. Things that were beyond her control. All I can say is, she never stopped loving you. A rush of emotions overwhelmed me, confusion, anger, longing. I had buried the pain for so long, shielding it behind music and laughter, building walls high enough to drown out the memories. But now they clawed at me, demanding to be acknowledged. Why now? I managed to ask, the incredulity throbbing in my voice. Why after all this time? I only found out the truth recently. I didn't know where you were, but when I heard you were performing here tonight, I had to come. I thought maybe you deserved to know the full story. Jack's words struck harder than any blow. The air around us thickened with unspoken truths, and my heart felt both heavy and hopeful. Turning to my dad, I searched his face for any sign of recognition, any hint that this stranger's revelation was true. But all I saw was a storm of emotions swirling within him. I had stepped into uncharted territory, and everything I had thought I understood was now in question. As Jack stood there, waiting, my chest tightened with a fresh awareness of what it meant to uncover hidden pieces of my past. What would I find if I dared to dig deeper? Jamie, wait, Dad finally broke the silence, his voice thick with apprehension. You don't have to, but the spark of curiosity had ignited a fire within me. No, I said firmly. I need to understand. As the crowd's excitement faded into a distant hum, I faced the man who had just reshaped my world. What other secrets were there nestled in the shadows of my family's past? Jack took a step forward, determination sparkling in his eyes. If you want to talk, I can tell you everything. But it won't be easy. And just like that, I stood at the precipice of two worlds, my future trembling with the weight of choices yet to be made. Would I dive into the depths of the unknown or retreat to the safety of what I already knew? The answer loomed in the air, and with every heartbeat, I knew I couldn't walk away. The silence that hung between us felt charged, almost electric. I could see Jack's resolve, but my mind was a whirlwind of questions. My chest tightened as I absorbed the weight of his words. What did you mean by protect? Jack hesitated, his eyes searching mine for something permission. Perhaps. It's complicated, Jamie. Not everything can be explained in a few sentences. There were people who wanted to harm your family. Your mother had to make choices to keep you safe. Safe from what? My voice was sharper than I intended, but the tone expressed the frustration building inside. Dad shifted beside me, clearly struggling to keep his feelings in check. It'd be easier to show you, Jack said finally. Can we talk somewhere private? I glanced at Amanda, her wide eyes reflecting my uncertainty, then back at Jack. Why can't you just tell me here? I challenged, trying to anchor myself amongst the rising tide of anxiety. Because it involves more than just your mother, he replied. It includes things that could put you and your dad in danger. Please just trust me. Trust. That word hit me like a hammer. Hadn't I spent years learning to navigate the world without needing to trust anyone? Yet here I was, teetering on the edge of an emotional abyss, drawn by a thread of hope, a desperate need for understanding. I looked at my dad, who was still struggling with what was happening. Did he believe Jack? Did he know more than he let on? Jamie, this could be dangerous, he finally spoke, his tone both protective and pleading. I just want to keep you safe. The fire inside me burned hotter. You can't keep me safe if you don't tell me the truth. I need to know. I turned back to Jack, my heart racing. Where do you want to go? Follow me, Jack said, tension radiating from him as he turned to leave, glancing back to ensure I was following. I took a breath, feeling the weight of my choice settle on my shoulders. I glanced at Amanda briefly, but not wanting to let doubt linger. I followed Jack as he led me through the backstage area, the cheering crowd fading into a murmur behind us. Each step felt monumental, as if I was leaving behind a piece of my old self, moving toward something unknown, something potentially devastating or illuminating. Jack led me down a narrow corridor, and I felt the shadows close in around us, amplifying my isolation. There's a room at the end, he said, motioning toward a door that looked worn and well-used. My heart raced. What was behind it? When we stepped inside, it was dimly lit and cluttered with old furniture and equipment, a stark contrast to the vibrancy of the stage. Jack shut the door behind us, blending the world outside into muffled silence. Are you ready? He asked, his voice low, almost reverent. I nodded, the anticipation grappling with fear in my chest. As he explained, I found myself drifting between disbelief and wonder. Each sentence pulled me deeper into a labyrinth I was desperate to explore. Was this the truth I had been searching for, or just another illusion meant to shatter my world? When Jack stopped, a deep breath escaping him, I felt the air thick with revelations. I held on to that moment tightly, not wanting to let go. What was it your mother was protecting me from? I asked, knowing I was crossing a line from which there was no return. Jack hesitated, the gravity of what he was about to share weighing heavily in the charged atmosphere of the room. He looked right into my eyes, and the world outside faded even further. Jamie, there are things every family wishes to keep buried. But in your case it's life or death. The room felt suffocating, a kaleidoscope of emotions crashing down on me. In that instant, I realized the path ahead was more twisted and complex than I ever imagined. Would I be brave enough to walk it, no matter where it led? What do you mean? I whispered, the enormity of his words pressing against my chest. As he opened his mouth to respond, my heart thudded loudly in my ears, racing toward whatever truth lay ahead. The answer danced just out of reach. What was the danger lurking? Just beyond the shadows of my past? And what would I have to confront to truly find out? Jack hesitated, the weight of his words hanging heavily in the dim room. My heart thundered in my chest as I waited for him to continue. It felt like the air around us had thickened, weighing down on my shoulders. I was caught in a storm of anticipation and dread, terrified of what I might hear. Your mother. He paused, looking out a grimy window as if the answer lay beyond it. She was involved in something deeply dangerous. People, they were after her. After us too. Is why she moved you here, into a life that seemed normal, safe. I felt a chill roll up my spine. What do you mean? What did she do? Jack turned his gaze back to me, his expression steely, as if he were piecing together an unspeakable puzzle. She was part of a program, Jamie. A group dedicated to stopping threats that most people don't even know exist. Your mother made some enemies. The kind that don't easily let go. Enemies? My brain was scrambling. Was my whole childhood a lie? I knew my mother had secrets, but this was a whirlwind that threatened to topple everything I ever believed. My mouth felt dry. What kind of threats? Jack took a step closer, his voice low as if the walls themselves might listen. There are organizations out there, hidden within society, cults, radical groups, crime syndicates. They use manipulation. They stop at nothing to protect their interests. When your mother backed out, they didn't take it lightly. Your family got caught in the crossfire. A lump formed in my throat as anger surged inside me. So she just left us in the dark? Is that why she never spoke about her past? It was to protect you. She was scared that if you learned the truth, it would only put you at risk. Sometimes, silence is the only path. Silence. The walls of my newfound reality reverberated with it. My mind raced. How could this be happening? My eyes darted to the cluttered shelves, searching for something to stabilize me. I was unraveling. So are you saying I'm in danger now? Jack's expression softened, his vulnerability creeping in. That's why I'm here. I didn't come to hurt you or cause more confusion. I came to warn you. There's a chance they're still watching, still searching for any weakness to exploit. A mix of fear and defiance surged through me. I won't let them take my life away from me. The words escaped before I could filter them. Determination ignited like a flame within me. I pictured a world beyond the shadows. A life where I wouldn't live in fear. I wanted answers. Jack nodded, a flicker of approval in his eyes. That's the spirit I like to see. But we need to be smart about this. It means digging deep and confronting the things your mother tried to bury. I took a steadying breath, firming my resolve. Then let us do it together. I need to know the truth. As my words hung in the air, I could see the weight of my choice settling in Jack's eyes. This was it. No turning back. I was ready to step into the unknown, and for the first time, a glimmer of hope flickered within the labyrinth of darkness. What's our next move? I asked, adrenaline surging through me, ready to chase whatever shadows loomed ahead. Jack smirked, a sense of purpose radiating off him. We need to find your mother's old contacts. They have answers. And together we will prepare for whatever comes next. Just as he finished, a loud bang echoed from outside the door, rattling the fragile calm around us. I turned sharply, my heart racing once more. Had someone been listening? Get down, Jack shouted as we both fell to the floor instinctively. Each thud of my heart echoed with uncertainty. What was lurking out there? And were we truly ready for the confrontation that awaited just beyond that door? I could feel the chill of the floor seeping through my jeans as we pressed ourselves low, hearts pounding in unison. Jack's eyes darted toward the door, muscle tension radiating through him. But I couldn't pull my gaze away from the shadows flickering beneath it. Another crash echoed through the small space. I flinched, convinced it came from an intruder on the other side, someone keen on silencing us for good. My pulse quickened. Who's out there? I whispered, fear creeping into my voice. I don't know, Jack replied, glancing over his shoulder, urgency knitting his brow. But we need to be ready to move. Panic surged inside me. I'd barely just begun to grasp the reality of my world, and now it threatened to crumble again. What if it's them? What if they've found us? The words slipped out, trembling with my rising dread. Trust me, Jamie. I won't let anything happen to you, Jack replied, his voice steady, a lifeline in the chaos. I needed to believe him. We waited, the silence stretching like a taut rubber band ready to snap. I could feel the sweat trickling down my back, the air stifling my breath. Every creak of the floorboards above, every distant murmur outside felt amplified, echoing through my mind like a scream. The banging stopped. My eyes flickered to Jack, and he nodded almost imperceptibly. On three, he mouthed, the tension in his body coiling like a spring. 1, 2 before we hurled ourselves into action. A sudden voice broke through the silence. Jack. Jamie. It's me. The recognition flooded me with relief, nearly knocking the wind out of my lungs. Dad? I inhaled sharply, feeling like I was teetering on the edge of relief and disbelief. Dad? I said cautiously, as if saying his name too loudly might shatter this moment. The door swung open, and there he stood, panting, worry etched across his face. I saw someone lurking outside. We need to move now. My heart, just moments ago tightening with fear, swelled with unexpected warmth. I scrambled to my feet, the disarray around me momentarily forgotten. What do you mean? Did you see them? He shook his head, hair disheveled. No time for questions, just trust me. They could be on their way here right now. Your mother, she had a plan. We can use it if we hurry. Plan? My bewilderment was palpable. What's the plan? There are safe havens she set up. Places you can go, places I can help you get to. But we have to be quick. Hope flickered in my chest, fighting against the shadows that still loomed. You knew? I choked out, suppressing the anger that swelled with this new revelation. You knew what was happening all along? I was protecting you. We thought it was over. I thought. He trailed off, anguish dawning in his eyes. I was wrong. Jack stepped forward, placing a hand on my shoulder. You have to decide, Jamie. Do you trust us? My heart battled against itself. The thought of running was terrifying, yet staying felt equally suffocating. This was the moment. I could feel it deep in my bones. I took a breath, steeling myself, not just for the future but for the decision that would define it. Let us go, I said, shaky but resolute. I'll do whatever it takes to uncover the truth. The urgency wrapped around us like a shroud as I watched my dad's expression shift from worry to pride, just as Jack's eyes sparked with determination. Together, we stepped out into the unknown, but even as I felt that surge of courage, a thought tugged at me like a haunting whisper. What were we truly walking into? The air outside was thick and heavy, a stark contrast to the chaos swirling in my mind. The night was dark, and every rustle in the trees made me jump. Jack's grip on my arm felt like a lifeline as we ducked into the narrow alley beside our home, shadows swallowing us whole. Stay close, Dad instructed, his voice steady, but I could hear the tremor beneath it. He moved quickly, navigating through the maze of backyards and fences. My legs felt heavy, each step a reminder of how much was at stake. Where are we going? I whispered, glancing back at Jack. He gave me a nod that was both reassuring and anxious. To the old storage shed, Dad said, glancing over his shoulder as if the very air behind us held dangers lurking. It's a safe spot. We can plan from there. As we hurried along, my mind raced, piecing together fragments of information. Safe havens? Plans? I had so many questions, but I couldn't voice them. The urgency pressed down on me, stifling everything except the drive to survive. Dad pushed the door to the shed open with urgency, and we slipped inside, the wooden beams creaking around us. It was dark and musty, the familiar smell of old tools and forgotten memories. I breathed deeply, trying to ground myself. Okay, we need to be quiet, Dad said, urgency spilling into every word. He started rummaging through the clutter, pulling out a hidden box with old photographs and dog-eared maps. What's all this? I asked, confused by the jumbled chaos. This, he held up a worn-out map, the corners frayed and faded. Your mother drew these safe routes years ago. before things escalated. I didn't think we'd need them again. I was careless. Careless? My voice rose, frustration bubbling to the surface. You kept us in the dark. How could you think it was over? His gaze fell to the floor. I thought protecting you meant keeping you away from all this. I never wanted you to be part of it. I thought it was just paranoia. Jack stepped forward, sensing the tension that hung in the air. Your gut was telling you something, and now it's too late for second-guessing. We need to focus on what to do next. Dad took a deep breath, finally meeting my gaze. We need to move as soon as possible. Every moment we stay here puts us at risk. I felt the weight of his words. And if we go to these safe havens, what then? Then we regroup, he said. Contact allies, find out who's really behind this. We won't stop until we get answers. The determination in his voice ignited something in me. I could feel the fear suffocating my resolve starting to break free. I had to trust him. I had to trust Jack. Okay, I said quietly, feeling a sense of purpose rising within. Let us do this. Let us uncover the truth. Hope washed over me like a flood. But it was quickly tinged with fear. What if we were too late? What if the shadows were already closing in? Just as I felt that flicker of strength, the world outside erupted into sound. A shout broke the night, raw and demanding. I froze, my heart pounding, panic clawing at me again. Dad! I breathed, my voice barely escaping me. What was that? He pressed his lips together, eyes wide with realization. We've been found. Moments stretched as I felt the ground shift beneath my feet. There was no turning back now. What awaited us outside could either lead to freedom or a deeper darkness. I exchanged a glance with Jack, a silent question hanging in the heavy air between us. What do we do? As my father's expression hardened, I could see him ready to act. We face it, he said sharply. Together. But uncertainty still gripped me from within. Did we have enough strength to meet whatever was coming? I couldn't shake the feeling that everything was about to change, and whether that change would be for better or worse I couldn't tell. Let us move, Dad urged, and as we creaked open the door, I knew one thing for certain. The truth was waiting for us, and it might be more dangerous than we ever imagined. The icy air hit me as we stepped into the night, a world alive with a buzz of danger and uncertainty. My heartbeat synced with the distant shouts and the trampling of footsteps nearing our hideout. My father and Jack led the way, their determination cracking through the tension like a whip, bringing clarity in the chaos. Stay close, Dad urged, flinging open the side gate to a narrow side street. My legs pushed me forward even when doubt gripped my mind. I never felt more alive and terrified all at once. Voices echoed behind us, carving through the night air. Whoever it was, they weren't far now. What do we do? I asked, casting a worried glance at Jack, desperate for a plan to counter the imminent threat. Stick to the shadows, Jack replied, his voice steady despite the rush around us. We need to blend in with the darkness and find a way out of town before they close in. Dad nodded sharply, pulling me along. We'll head toward the old train tracks. They lead out of town. If we can reach the bridge, we can find the safe house. We navigated through alleys and back streets, each step fraught with the fear of being caught but also electrified by purpose. I clutched my guitar tightly, its familiar shape grounding me amid the whirlpool of fear and adrenaline. Music had always been my refuge, the sanctuary where I felt invincible. But now it felt like a weight I couldn't afford to lose. We skulked through a dimly lit park, the silvery moon spilling its light onto us like a spotlight directing our escape. Just ahead, the flickering light of the train bridge came into view. Relief washed over me, but it was quickly snuffed out by the urgency of our situation. Suddenly, behind us, branches snapped, and I could hear footsteps marching towards us, fast and relentless. They're coming, I gasped, panic flaring. Run, Dad shouted, and my feet hit the pavement hard, a mix of fear and adrenaline propelling us forward. Each breath I took clawed at my chest, but the mission pulsed through me like an electric current. Over here, Jack beckoned, pushing us into the shelter of tall hedges lining the edge of the park. I pressed against the cool ground, my heart hammering violently. A faint whirring sound drifted through the air. A car, maybe, slowly rolling down the street. "Where are they?" Dad murmured, peering through the thick leaves. I could see the flickering lights of headlights inching closer, casting eerie shadows. "We wait," Jack said resolutely. I could feel the tension radiating from him. It clung to the air between us like fog. "If they come this way, we go the other." Minutes crept by like hours. My chest tightened as fear battled with hope. What if we were caught? Then I heard them. Voices, menacing and confident. "They can't have gotten far," one said. "Search everything. They could exploit every minute we waste." My breath hitched, and I glanced at my dad. Fear etched across his features, but there was also steely resolve. I could draw strength from that. Jack nodded at me in reassurance, reminding me that we were in this together. As the voices faded, the headlights dimmed, and I felt the imminent danger slide into the background. A moment of calm washed over me when Dad grabbed my hand. "We need to go now." Together, we dashed toward the train tracks. The old bridge loomed ahead, rusty and powerful, a gateway away from everything that chained me to fear. For a moment, nothing mattered except for each step. As we crossed onto the bridge, I could feel the moonlight pouring down, illuminating the path ahead and bathing us in a hope that felt tangible. Each strum of my guitar in my mind echoed fiercely with determination. The rhythm was calming, a heartbeat guiding me forward. "What now?" I asked, letting my breath settle as we paused in the middle of the bridge. The stars twinkled above, but even in this moment of beauty, uncertainty still flickered at the edges. "We need to find a phone," Jack said, scanning the area. "We can reach out to the contacts your mother used. They'll know what to do next. When this is over, we'll confront everything," Dad assured, determination blazing in his eyes. The thought of uncovering all hidden truths ignited a fire in my soul. "Together," I whispered, just as the echoes of our fear began to dissipate in the quiet night. As we stepped down from the bridge, an urgency swept through me. This journey was about more than uncovering the truth. It was about reclaiming my life. I wouldn't let the shadows dictate my path. We hurried to a nearby convenience store, my heart racing with anticipation for what might come next. The world felt on the brink of change. Once inside, I leaned against the cooler, glancing at both men flipping through their phones for nearby contacts. The anticipation shimmered thickly, possibility crackling in the air like electricity. "Got it," Jack exclaimed, eyes sparkling with determination. "This number could lead us to someone who can help, someone who knows your mother's allies." Doubt washed over me yet again. What if it's a trap? What if they're already here? "Trust the path, Jamie," Dad said, his voice steady and full of warmth. "You have the strength to face whatever comes." Stealing my resolve, I hit dial, my heart pounding in rhythm with the ringing tone. Each pulse echoed with questions, each breath brimming with hope. Finally, the line clicked, and a voice came through, muffled but authoritative. "Who is this?" I inhaled, ready to face whatever would come next, willing to unearth every shadow and live in the light of truth. "This is Jamie, I need help." The line went silent for a moment, then the voice responded, deep and knowing. "I've been expecting you, Jamie." And just like that, I felt the shift. The truth was out there, waiting for me to embrace it. I felt lighter, closer to breaking free from all the fears that had once bound me. Whatever waited next, I was ready to face it, heart open and voice strong. As Dad and Jack stood beside me, their faces filled with unwavering support, I realized the shadows would not win. Together, we'd find a way to rewrite our destinies, reclaiming lives touched by love and courage. And finally, with renewed strength, I stepped into the light. Now it's your turn to take the leap. Subscribe immediately to our channel, so you won't miss the next exclusive stories that could transform your reality. Hit that like button now to fuel the algorithm fire. I'm counting on you to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to witness this journey of courage and strength. Let us spread this message. Real transformations begin when we support each other. Don't wait not even one more second.